Illini Basketball Podcast, episode number 97. Sunday, February 6th is the date. Nailed it. Illinois just takes apart Indiana in the second half. And I'm an idiot for not picking Illinois to win.
No kidding. Jeez.
I fell into a trap of thinking that Indiana could be a bad matchup for Illinois. Little did I know that Trace Jackson Davis sucks at basketball. What a loser.
You didn't know that?
Yeah, I said he's overrated. I think he's good, but he sucks now. Okay? I mean, he did nothing. He's a loser. He's a loser. He talks a whole lot for somebody who's playing for a program that's supposed to be relevant, but like, when was the last time they were like legit, like 2013 when Illinois beat them at home?
Yeah.
Tyler Griffey action. I mean, come on, what are we doing? You know?
Yeah. I mean, he had a quick foul early on, and then he made a really dumb foul on Plummer. I mean, could have went either way, but I guess you don't make that play, right? When you're in foul trouble or whatever. And then he was on the bench for 15 plus minutes.
I still hate how coaches do that.
Yeah. And I guess they think, they don't want to get him in, another one, which I understand with Kofi, because he's going to have to guard Kofi. I guess they could have put Durr on Kofi and, had him play against Grandison or somebody else. But, and I think they kind of did that in the second half. He wasn't guarding Kofi in the second half, some of the second half. So, but that was a big turning point. Everybody talks about Illinois is better without Curbelo. Indiana must be better without TJD, right? I mean, statistically.
The Illinois is better without Curbelo thing just comes down to they're better when he stays on the bench and plays off the bench.
Yeah.
I mean,
sure. Yeah. I mean,
they're better when he they're better when he's coming off the bench than they are if he were in the starting five, I think.
Curbelo doesn't need the ball in his hands all the time, which is nice. So, but let's get to player of the game. The guy that does have the ball in his hands all the time, Trent Frazier. He's going to be mine. It looks like he's yours too. Best shooting game he's had of the year, maybe since he's been at Illinois. He was 8 of 11 from the field. Took a couple twos that I wish he would have stepped back a little bit and made them threes, but hey, he knocked them down. That's all that mattered. He's 3 of 6 from 3. Perfect from the free throw line. Had 23 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, a block. I don't remember the block, but hey, good on you. And only 1 turnover, handling the ball all that time. He only had 1 turnover. I believe Illinois had like 7 turnovers in the first half, only 3 in the second half. 3 of those turnovers in the first half were Grandison. Grandison's getting a little sloppy with the ball sometimes, but I felt like Trent really adjusted his defense in the second half. He was having a hard time getting through ball screens. He was letting Indiana guys kind of get around and shoot those jumpers. And Illinois decided to foul on every single one of those jumpers for some reason. But he started going underneath them. In the second half, he gave up 1 3, but that's all right. I think Indiana was horrific from 3, 3 of 13 for 23%. And him and Plummer kind of kept Illinois in the game in the first half. They scored 15 on the Illini's last 20 going into halftime. So Trent, I'd say one of his better games of the year overall. And when Illinois couldn't do anything in the first half, he was kind of the guy that was doing things. Kofi struggled first half against Durr because, of course, TJD wasn't out there. Just 1 of 5 from the field. He did get Durr in foul trouble, and then Illinois just forgot he was on the team, I guess. Kofi had Race Thompson, who's, I believe, 6'7" on him, and I don't think 6'8". I don't think he touched the ball the last 2 to 3 minutes when he was guarding him. So kind of a misplay by Illinois there. But again, they kept it within 2 and then, dominated the second half. So, but yeah, Kofi ended up 6 of 13, 5 of 9 from the free throw line. I wish he'd make a couple more free throws, but I'm not going to complain, I guess. 17 points, 8 rebounds. He had a really nice assist to Trent on the wing for a big 3. He had 2 steals, had some nice defense against Trace Jackson Davis, a couple reached his hand in there and popped him out. And then he had a huge block against TJD. He shut down Trace Jackson Davis in the second half. And then Indiana had nowhere to go after that.
They don't run any offense.
No,
this is when you say Mike Woodson's maybe not a good fit for a Big Ten team. Like defensively, yeah, they play pretty well defensively. Obviously, in this game, it kind of overwhelmed them. But really, other than Purdue, who had an off game against Indiana, and Illinois, what team in the Big Ten has that dominant big? I guess Dickinson did that to him for sure. But after that, there's no team that has a really dominant big who's going to be able to do what Kofi can do to TJD.
Yeah,
stinks, by the way. He talks a lot for stinking.
I don't even think he got to flex this game, did he? I mean,
God, what a joke.
We didn't have to see that. But yeah, I mean, I thought Kofi played really good defense.
Surprising,
I've been on him, hounding him about his defense all year. He got his hands up a few times when the guards got in the lanes. A few times he didn't, but I'll take 50% from Kofi because he usually does it about 10. So. But Kofi continues to just get abused down low. A lot of fouls that just don't get called, and he battles through them. That I think that was part of his 1 for 5. Durr just smoked him on one of them, and they didn't call anything. So
there's also the one where if he would have made that, they weren't going to call that.
Yeah.
Because the whistle was after the ball went off.
There was a lot of late whistles.
But Borowski, best of the best, dude. He's the best of the best.
Yeah, Underwood.
There are some numbers that'll back that up.
Okay. Well,
I will give you those when we get to that.
All right. Sounds good. As far as other starters, Plummer, I thought he had a decent game. He had a nice drive to the lane. He was 3 of 10, 2 of 7 from 3.
He missed 2 in a row that were wide open on the same possession.
Illinois got the rebound, got it back out to him, and then he missed again. Wish he would have made one of those, but 14 points, missed a free throw again. Plummer, come on, man. I thought you were perfect from the free throw line all the time. It seems like he's missing one every game now, but he had 4 rebounds. He hits threes when he needs to. His defense still is a bit iffy, but you take points, I guess, over that. He literally got beat by a jab step, which is embarrassing.
Yep. I tweeted at 11:35 a.m. In the first half of the game, Plummer might be the worst perimeter defender ever.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Literally a jab step got him thrown off. So, but when he does something like that, it seems like he always comes down and hits a 3. I think he made a 3 after he got beat there. And then he had a couple nice rebounds. He was getting up for the ball, going to the ball. Illinois did get out rebounded this game, 33-30. But
are we worried about the rebounding?
I am, honestly. Yeah. The Indiana was the team that Illinois should have out rebounded, I thought.
And back-to-back games that with Hummel doing it, which I believe he's doing the game Tuesday as well, where he keeps calling Illinois one of the best rebounding teams in the conference in the country.
Well, statistically they are, but it's like lately they are not.
It's been like a month that they just have, like the Wisconsin game was horrendous.
Yeah. Grandison, 21 minutes for Grandison. He struggled a bit in the first half, like I said, 3 turnovers. He dribbles with the ball so far away from him. Other guy, I think Kopp came in and poked one out. He made a really bad interior pass, which he probably should have just faked it because Race Thompson, read him the whole way, and he could have just hit the jumper. I think Robbie Hummel mentioned that. Robbie Hummel is phenomenal, by the way. He literally
very detail oriented. I don't know if it's Bill Walton, but
it's every time he says something, it's like what I just yelled at the TV. So,
Bill Walton is a little bit better. Bill Walton last night during that game said there's like 3 players on Arizona State with headbands. That's going to be a big factor moving forward. And Bill Walton doing an overtime game, which I was like half asleep during that game. Was it double or triple overtime?
Triple overtime.
Yeah, him doing a triple overtime game is unbelievable. I mean, he's probably ripping shrooms and stuff in between.
Well, that's he he starts talking about a player, and then he just rattles off like 18 synonyms. And my wife's like, does he have a thesaurus sitting right next to him or what? What's he doing here? So
he's high as hell. No doubt.
That's true. But Grandison missed his first 2 threes and then made 2 back-to-back huge threes for Illinois. Gave him the lead 48-46. It was their first lead since it was 4-2. So I kept telling you Illinois had to get a lead. That was the part where they got the lead. And Mike Woodson afterwards even said that him hitting those 2 threes was the, quote, downward spiral of our ball club, and they never really recovered.
I wonder what Indiana fans think about Woodson to this point.
I think they like him so far.
Probably because their record is good and they do most of the time they play defense.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they got some serious issues when it comes to running offense.
Mm-hmm.
95 offense on Ken Palm.
I mean, it's TJD or Race Thompson, right? Get the ball to them and let them create.
I mean, you would think that
there's a lot more.
Similar to the way that Illinois sometimes needs to make things happen for Plummer, why doesn't Indiana try to make things happen with Parker Stewart?
Yeah.
Who lights it up from 3.
Yeah. And their guards played probably their best games, for Indiana because nobody else was really doing anything. And Xavier Johnson and Parker Stewart, I thought played well. Maybe not
Xavier Johnson,
phenomenal, but
the way that he's not a good offensive player, and I'm surprised that, like, for example, Purdue letting him score 18 against them, and the same thing with Finney. That's why Purdue lost that game. We'll talk about Purdue later, obviously, but perimeter defense and Indiana's guards, other than Stewart, I mean, you don't trust any of those guys to score.
Right.
Xavier Johnson's shot is horrific. I mean, it is.
That's true. But I mean, he seemed to be finding ways to get around. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, he was holding Trent like it was nobody's business.
Oh man, it was unreal. Trent ended up smacking him in the face. I can't believe they didn't call flagrant on that. But I mean, he was just holding them like crazy. And then Curbelo. I think it's Curbelo's hair. Because when he puts his head back, it goes. I think so. Apparently that got him a call. But I text you when that happened. I said he's been doing it to Trent the whole game, but Curbelo knows how to play it up a little bit more, I guess. But last guy, starting wise, Damonte Williams. I thought that he was phenomenal against Race Thompson in the second half. The first half, it was Grandison and Hawkins getting thrown at Race Thompson, and he was literally doing whatever he wanted to do. Put Damonte on him. Damonte bodied him. The game was physical. There was no doubt about it. I know there were a lot of fouls called. There were a lot of free throws shot. But they let him play quite a bit, I thought. I even had a buddy text me, and he said, are all the games this physical? And I had said, it just depends on, the reffing and everything else. But they let Damonte pound, and when Damonte pounds, he doesn't really give up any ground. But he hit that dagger 3 towards the end of the game, which was a great play by Illini. I believe Trent drove, kicked it to the corner, another kick, and then found Damonte open on the wing.
Trent to Plummer to Grandison to Damonte.
Yeah. I was kind of mad that Grandison passed it up and passed it to Damonte, but hey, Damonte seems to knock those down late, so I'll take it. And then his other 3 was a step back, which I've never seen him do that ever, but hey, it went down. So I'll take it. 7 rebounds, which was 1 less than Kofi for the team high. Kofi had 8, of course. Had 2 assists and 3 blocks. So I assume those were against Race. I mean, they called them blocks. It might have been fouls. I don't know. But, Damonte just, again, doing what he does, plays good defense, hits threes when he needs to, and grabs rebounds. And I don't think there's anybody on the bench that you can say can come in and do what he does. So keep playing and keep playing hard. As far as the bench, Bello had 12 minutes. He was 1 of 4, 1 of 2 from free throw line, had 3 points, a steal. Not bad, not great. 1 turnover. I'll take it. It still seems like he's getting, kind of back in the flow of things. I think he played 12 minutes the last game. So once he starts getting going a little bit, he'll probably see, more minutes. I would say more in the 18 to 20 minutes, but he's doing what he needs to do. And I still feel like he gives the team a good spark off the bench. Especially when Illinois goes on those 6-minute droughts or whatever. I feel like Curbelo really helps that because he can find a shot. You might not always like his shot, and he had some really good layups that he just missed. But he's going to find those for you when nobody else can do anything. Your boy Hawkins had 9 minutes, hit 2 free throws, so it's perfect from the line. Nice 2 points. Played terrible defense.
Oh, God, he sucks.
Goody, 6 minutes, hit a nice 3, airball to 3. I think that's the Goody special, right?
Yeah.
Knock one down. And he did get a flagrant, kind of a crazy thing where Curbelo got tripped. Bo Borowski says he didn't see it, and then emphatically throws up the flagrant call. I'm not saying it was the wrong call by any means, because Goody did grab him around the waist, but it was just a weird sequence of events where Curbelo I don't know how he thought Curbelo went to the ground. So, especially when it was literally right in front of him.
Turf monster,
I guess. Melendez, 8 minutes, 1 rebound, 2 assists. He had 2 turnovers. So him and Grandison had half the team's turnovers. Everybody else that had a turnover only had 1. So big number. Kofi didn't have any turnovers. So he handled the ball well. Kofi was getting kind of out and dribbling in. Nobody really crashed on him. Cop did that one time.
Speaking of him, does he regret going to Indiana? I mean, his minutes have dropped off. He only played 16 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Did absolutely nothing. And also, I love how TJD, who's a loser, by the way, said before the game, as a player, I'm not, attacking character. As a player, he's a loser. Before the game, he was talking about how I'm surprised Wisconsin gave Kofi what they gave him, blah, 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 single coverage, that type of stuff. We're not going to be giving him the same stuff. I mean, they pretty much did.
Yeah.
It wasn't that much different.
Yeah. So I don't understand, like TJD got this nice wooden watch thing. Did they I didn't see one for Kofi, or have they done one, or are they going to do one?
You would think that since one player on each team is on the list or whatever, that for the home game, they would do it for that player.
Okay.
So I wonder if next time ESPN does, because it's an ESPN thing. So next time that they do an Illinois home game, it would be, because I'm assuming Purdue game, who's on the list for them? They got to have somebody, right? Yeah. So they'll probably do that for him. And then we'll get one at some point.
Yeah, sure. Whatever. We don't need that stuff.
We absolutely do, actually. So.
We're a team. And then Omar Payne, 6 minutes, had a steal. I thought he played really good defense against TJD when he had to. Forced Jackson Davis to dribble it out of bounds a few times because apparently he can't dribble the ball. I don't know. But good minutes from Payne. He had a guard at him at one point.
Give him the ball.
Yeah, in Illinois, I believe that. Was it Trace Jackson Davis was guarding Frazier out front?
That sounds right.
And I think Frazier just chucked one up or something. I can't remember what happened there, but that might yeah. I know they didn't score on that. So
I tweeted about that, so that would make it worthy of a tweet. I mean, the fact that Payne didn't get the ball there was absurd. I mean, that's not a play you want to make. And I'm looking at Illinois' TV schedule moving forward here. So I'm assuming they'll be on ESPN at some point one more time, but it doesn't really look like that's the case. Whatever. Who cares about the wooden watch list thing? That's kind of, one of those things. But if you look at the way that Illinois' offense was able to attack in the second half, I think a lot of it was about the fact that they could make the three. You go into Kofi. The thing is, Indiana can get a lot more physical with Illinois in the paint than a team like Wisconsin could, which is why that I thought it might be a bad matchup, because Indiana's got a bit more physicality. Durr and Jackson Davis, who I think stinks, by the way, both of them are far more physical than what Crowell or Vogt can be for Wisconsin. And at the end of the day, Illinois has to feed the ball to Kofi. There's no doubt. I mean, a lot of the first half, Illinois was not giving him the ball. And Durr played him pretty well in the first half, but foul trouble is going to catch up to a guy like that. And Illinois was able to weather that. Obviously, Trent was a big part of that. Illinois fouling was a big part of Indiana's lead. You look at the free throw numbers last year when these two teams played, there was a ton of free throws taken. This time, a little bit less, 44 overall. Illinois still has some free throw troubles. 18 for 26 isn't like stunningly bad, but it's not good. 69, nice percent. So that was the case. Then you look back to last year, 44 free throws this year in this game yesterday may sound like a high number, but you take it back to last year's overtime game, 66 free throws taken. So 22 more. Foul numbers, last year's game, 54 fouls, personal fouls, 26 on Illinois, 28 on Indiana. And in this year's game, only 37. So step in the right direction there. I thought Borowski's crew, compared to what they've been at times for Illinois this year, they did an okay job refereeing. Underwood would tell you that Borowski's the greatest thing of all time. I don't know about that, but I thought the crew did better. And considering what they did last year, it wasn't the same crew. I believe it was Kelly Pfeiffer and the other two that they have in that crew, which I don't remember who they are. That crew last year was a train wreck in this game, but the officiating let them play, and a game that's that physical, rivalry game, 44 free throws taken may sound like a lot, or was it no, it was 50. Damn it, I just had the numbers. It was 26, 44 free throws.
Yeah.
That may sound like a lot, but last year there were 66 free throws taken in this game.
Yeah.
So
I got to go. I'm going to leave you guys with Ethan. My prediction for the Purdue Illinois game is Purdue 89, Illinois 82. I don't see a win coming at Purdue, but that's what I'm going to predict. I'm going to leave you guys with Ethan. Go Illini, big win. Hopefully they get one Tuesday. I think we're going to try to do a watch party, but Ethan will take care of you guys from here. Later. Buddy.
Absolutely, I will. See ya. All right, so here's the deal. You can send me questions in the comments because I will go over those. All right. We'll go over the questions if you got them, Illini questions, whatever you got. We'll throw those out any way that you can. Let's wrap up the Indiana game. I mean, overall, great win. Shout out to Barstool Carl and his crew being in attendance, Underwood pulling them in to the locker room at the end of the game. Some great content there, great clips of that. I just think that Illinois needed this game. You keep racking up wins. Your schedule gets harder. They're 10-2 in the Big Ten now. The numbers getting better. And going into the Purdue game, you got to feel better than you did last time. This team's playing far better. And a point to bring up, which I think is important with Underwood teams, when they lose to Maryland, they go on a bit of a run. I know last year when they lost to Maryland, they lost to Ohio State the next game. But after that, they went on a rampage of winning 8 in a row. So losing to Maryland clearly gets this team going. There's no doubt about that. And we'll see if they can keep it moving. I mean, this team getting better in each game. A lot of people want to say certain things about them. Maybe they're not as good as what people think at this point. Going into the season, people thought they'd be better right now than they've been, but currently they're playing well. Kofi and Frazier outscoring Indiana 26-21 in the second half, shooting 75% between the two. Indiana shot 29.6. And if you want to say about the last game of Wisconsin, a lot of that was Wisconsin missing shots. I thought Illinois' defense turned it up a notch in this game. They played much better defensively overall in the second half than they did against Wisconsin, I think. And more of the missed shots by Indiana, more of it was due to defense rather than missing in comparison to the Wisconsin game, which I think it was a little bit the other way. Indiana shot a season low 35% from the field, held Trace Jackson Davis to season low 33%. He was 3 for 9. And they currently had held Johnny Davis to his season low at 26.3% until Penn State held him to 15% yesterday. The offense less stagnant in the second half. Underwood continues to ride his starters. We've seen that. I mean, Kofi plus 21, Williams plus 19, Trent plus 18, Grandison plus 18, Plummer plus 14, Melendez plus 5, Curbelo was -1, Goody -1, Hawkins and Payne both -4. So, I mean, whatever you want to do with those numbers there. I thought that I think this team could do a little bit of a better job of getting Payne in better spots on the offensive end, especially when he has a guard on him, a guard who's like 6'3". You got to give him the ball. I don't care if you think he's going to do anything with it or not. He's got to get the ball in that possession. And that was something that annoyed me during the game yesterday, but there's no doubt. 17-point victory, the largest margin of victory since 1956 at Indiana. So seems pretty good. Underwood said, quote, elite Big Ten basketball game today. We knew we were going to be in for a fight. Knew it'd be a sellout crowd. Pleased to be only down 2 at the half. Thought second half our defense was terrific. Offense allowed defense to be great. He called Bo Borowski one of the best officials out there, and I don't know what people in the comments think about that. I mean, last year he was the number 1 rated official, and the year before that he was also number 1. And the year before that, he's number 4. So he went 3 years in a row in the top 5. This year, he's ranked 40th on KenPom.com. So I think he's a better official than maybe people give him credit for, just because there's so many people that don't like him. And it does kind of tend to be a ref show sometimes when he's calling it. We saw that firsthand against Purdue in that first matchup. But it wasn't too bad yesterday. I thought they let him play. I thought there were some instances in the first half that were questionable. The Curbelo play certainly was that. But Underwood's going to say what he says. I'm sure he has a lot of respect for Bo. They've done a lot of Illini games. This year alone, they've done 6 Illini games. And Illinois, by the way, is 3-3 in Borowski games. They lost to Marquette, Arizona, and Purdue in Borowski games. I'm not sure if he'll be doing the game on Tuesday, but we will see. So, Illinois 13-2, their last 15 road games in the Big Ten. I believe the losses that they had on the road in the Big Ten were they lost to Maryland and they lost to Michigan State, were the 2 losses out of their last 15 games on the road. 13-2 in the Big Ten alone, whether it's home or away, is impressive. The fact that it's 13-2 on the road, and by the way, they're 24-3 in their last 27 Big Ten games now. I mean, that's just absurd stats. And this team, do they get enough credit for what they've been in the Big Ten over the last couple seasons? Probably not, but they've been great. Best Big Ten start through 12 games since 2004, 2005. Of course, that team 12-0 in the Big Ten to start the season through 12 in 04-05. Tyler wrote on here that the Maryland game is starting to piss him off more and more. I agree with that. And with that, let's get to the Purdue game. Purdue, Illinois, Tuesday, 8 p.m. Central, ESPN, and barring a late change, we will 100% for a fact do a watch party for this game. 100% guaranteed. Also, before we wrap up the Indiana game, suck it, Trace Jackson Davis. You're all talk, no action. Kofi owns you. Kofi Coburn 4-0 against Indiana in his career. So I just want to say to Trace Jackson Davis, go Scratch. All right. Purdue, they've won 5 straight. They're 8-1 in their last 9 games. Their one loss was to Indiana at the Assembly Hall on January 20th. We know how good Purdue is. They beat Illinois in double overtime on Martin Luther King Jr. Day a few weeks ago. They are a projected number 1 seed, 3 overall on the seed line per Joe Lunardi, ESPN Bracketology. Illinois projected 3 seed, 11 overall right now per Lunardi. Illinois is playing much better heading into this matchup than the last one, like I said, but they really need Kofi to show up. Kofi is the key to this game. And he doesn't have to produce as much as like 20 and 10, but he needs to play well. We can't have a bunch of wasted possessions because he struggled. Like last game, 3 for 9 with 10 points and 5 rebounds. He was 4 for 4 from the free throw line, so that was pretty impressive. Illinois made 12 threes in that game. Purdue made 8. Purdue had 32 free throw attempts. Illinois had 15. That game was pretty much won by Edey and Stefanovich's dominance for Purdue. They were very good in the second half. Edey, especially in the first half. Steve here says in the comment section, We need Curbelo against Purdue to break them down off the bounce. He can get to Edey. Illini will win. I tend to agree with Curbelo being important. He was very important in the last game. He had 20 points, second scorer on the team in that game. Plummer had 24. But it's hard to argue that these two teams aren't the two best in the Big Ten right now. After Illinois and Purdue, I think you look at Michigan State. I think you probably still look at Wisconsin, Ohio State, and then after that, I think there's a drop-off. So we'll see. Purdue's point guard play has been an issue this season, starting to come around a little bit more. You look at their last few games, they've played fairly well at the point guard spot. Eric Hunter and Isaiah Thompson, really two keys in that regard for Purdue to get going, and they have a little bit recently. Evan joining the chat. Welcome to the chat. Really hope BBV comes in when Kofi takes a break. BBV put Williams on lock last game. Yeah, I agree. I'd be surprised if he did. I don't know if Underwood's going to look at that first matchup at all in terms of his substitutions, but if he does, you would think BBV would get a look and get some minutes. We'll see. I wonder if Payne – I would put BBV in over Hawkins. I don't really care about length, how bad Hawkins' defense has been. I would put him in over Hawkins for sure. If they do go with Payne in for Kofi, which they have been. So let's see. What do I want to talk about next? Purdue, number one offense on KenPom, number 103 defense. Their defense is an issue. Like, you want to look at Purdue, you can't talk too much about what Purdue is without looking at their defense. And the big problem with their defense, they have all the size, all the athleticism, all the length that they want underneath in the paint. Their perimeter defense has not been good. And I think you point to Jaden Ivey. He's supposed to be that two-way lockdown wing type guard, whatever you want to call him, probably a guard more than a wing at this point. That's going to be a lottery pick. And he's not been that guy. Johnny Davis lit Purdue up. You can beat Purdue from the perimeter. Like, if Plummer, Frazier, Grandison, and Damonte, just from the starters, are making shots, making threes, that's where you can beat Purdue. Perimeter defense is a major issue for Purdue. And that's something that Illinois can expose. I don't know if they will, but they have a chance to do so if they want to. And we'll see if they do, but that's where you beat them. Perimeter defense. Their defense has struggled. Michigan scored 76 against them. Minnesota scored 73. Ohio State scored 78. Iowa scored 73. And those teams all lost to Purdue. But it just shows you can score a lot. Obviously, Illinois had 88 against them in the double overtime game. In regulation in that game, Illinois had a quick math number here, 69 points. So I just did an incredible math there, no doubt. I don't know if anybody has any other comments. Steve says Purdue's weak against the bounce. That they are. You can get underneath if you need to. Curbelo, like you said, will be a key for that. But kicking out from the perimeter players, Frazier, ISO, they can beat Purdue from the perimeter. That's somewhere where they can make it happen. And then defense against them is going to be difficult because obviously they can shoot. Stefanovic is a really good shooter. Edey and Williams will both be a problem for Kofi underneath. If Kofi brings a little bit more of that Indiana defense, that intensity, that'll really help. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting matchup. So you heard Tyler's prediction. He thinks Purdue wins 89-82. I think Purdue wins 81-72. I just think that Illinois, I think they're going to get overwhelmed a little bit again. If they lose this game, it's fine. They'll be tied at the top of the Big Ten with Purdue in record, but Purdue obviously beating them twice head-to-head. It's going to be a difficult matchup. I'm not saying Illinois can't win, but it just doesn't seem like they're going to. But that's why they play the games, folks. That is why they play them. All right. We will be back Tuesday for a watch party. So hopefully you can join us for the pregame. That will be at about 7:50, 7:45 Central. Before the game, get you set, watch the game with you. You can join us on our YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all of them. Steve thinks Illini wins by 9+. You're always confident in the team, and I appreciate that, and I think that that's an important trait to have as a fan. I personally don't really have that too much in a game, in a scenario like this, I think. But we'll see. We will certainly see what happens, what goes down. You can join us on Tuesday, then we'll do another episode later in the week for 98. Hope you join us Tuesday night. We'll see you there.